Episode 1 of Furious starts on the night of Halloween, where a man struggles to escape from a house as he crawls outside. A woman fills a bowl with candy for the children trick-or-treating outside when she notices him trying to escape. She returns inside, finds him crawling down the stairs, and mocks him. She injects him with drugs and leaves him to die. The episode moves to FBI agent Alice Black, who is on phone duty after leaving her job at the NYPD. Her superior, Mason Adkins, calls her into his office and tells her that her former colleague, Detective Danny Kelly, is seeking her help with a case. He asks her to visit the crime scene, write a report, and then return to her duties. Mason also brings up Alice's former relationship with another detective, which rattles her. Alice arrives at the crime scene and catches up with Danny, who reveals that he is about to get divorced. The officers working the case welcome back their former colleague. Inside the house, Danny reveals that the victim, Caleb Easton, the son of billionaire Jay Easton, has died of a drug overdose. It turns out that Caleb is the same man who was held captive and overdosed by the woman. Alice takes one look at Caleb's body and concludes that it is a homicide staged as an overdose. Danny explains that Caleb was at the house with his girlfriend. Alice searches the house, and Danny leads her to a bathroom that reeks of bleach after being scrubbed clean. She finds laceration marks on the door along with a single iridescent sequin, likely from a woman's clothing. The episode then follows the woman who killed Caleb as she mugs a homeless girl named Ginny. She calls a domestic violence shelter and pretends to be an abuse victim in distress. After receiving the shelter's address, she arrives there, acts terrified, and introduces herself as Ginny. The receptionist sympathizes with her and assures her that there will be no record of her stay. Once alone in her room, the woman removes her wig and hides the sequin bag under her bed. Meanwhile, Alice meets her sister Amy and her friends at a bar and reveals that she has a date. Back at her apartment, she invites a man over to have sex, but instead challenges him to a sparring match before refusing to sleep with him. After he leaves, Alice masturbates and suddenly remembers something. She calls Danny to remind him about Adrian Morato, another drug dealer who was supposedly murdered by his girlfriend through a drug overdose. At the station, Alice and Danny review CCTV images to identify the woman who was with Caleb. Since she is wearing a dust mask, they cannot determine her identity. Alice also tries to find a connection between Adrian and Caleb, but comes up empty. Later that night, Alice researches the Easton family's philanthropy before searching through old police files. She discovers that a closed case links Caleb to Adrian. The next day, she meets State's Attorney Nora Washington to discuss the case and asks about Adrian. Nora claims that Adrian was a sex trafficker who was likely murdered by one of his victims. Although she is initially skeptical of Alice's theory, she eventually hears her out. Nora asks Alice to accompany her during an investigation, and the two continue discussing Adrian. Alice asks about the victims involved in the case, but Nora says she cannot remember any of them. She explains that many victims are heavily addicted to drugs and emotionally attached to their traffickers, making it difficult to get information from them. Nora later meets Tina, a minor involved in an ongoing trafficking investigation, and Alice gives the girl her jacket to encourage her to attend the hearing. At the shelter, the woman joins a group session where several women share their experiences of abuse. She calms another resident during an emotional moment, impressing the receptionist. She later asks about obtaining a new ID so she can find work. The receptionist explains that she must stay at the shelter for 60 days, but offers to prepare a fake reference letter to help her. Back in her room, the woman looks at her new ID under the name Ginny Allen, before visiting the website of a lawyer named Oliver Charles. At the police station, Alice and Danny question Caleb's neighbor, a teenage boy who was seen on CCTV interacting with the masked woman. He claims that she flashed him while he was sitting on his porch. He also remembers a poppy flower tattoo on her waist, but cannot recall anything else about her. The next day, Alice returns to work at the FBI office, where Mason tells her to stop helping the NYPD with the investigation. At the shelter, the receptionist finds drugs inside the woman's sequin bag and confiscates them. She questions her about Oliver Charles, but the woman distracts her by flirting. Even after the receptionist reveals that she has a girlfriend, the woman kisses her. Later, the woman, posing as Ginny, works as a waitress at a party where she serves Oliver Charles. At the same time, Alice receives a call from the hospital informing her that Tina has been injured in a car accident. Nora arrives and reveals that Tina was also recruiting other girls into trafficking for money. She hands Alice a flash drive containing Adrian's case files before discussing female serial killers and wondering what drove this woman to target wealthy, influential men. Nora brings up Alice's past abuse at the hands of her ex-boyfriend that put her in the same hospital. She compares victims of assault to Medusa, a victim who was turned into a monster. That night, Oliver takes Ginny home and has her sign an NDA before they have sex. Ginny tells Oliver to do whatever he wants with her. At the same time, Nora tells Alice that victims of violence are often the most violent people. Nora reflects on how women who fight back against their abusers are often judged for their anger instead of their suffering. That night, Alice returns home and goes through the files on the flash drive. She discovers CCTV footage showing Adrian attacking a girl with a poppy flower tattoo on her waist at a convenience store. The episode ends with Ginny singing Oliver a lullaby as he sleeps, revealing the same poppy flower tattoo on her waist. Furious is a very interesting yet triggering show. From what we have seen so far, it appears that the woman, whom we can call Ginny for now, is a victim of sex trafficking. She is targeting the men who assaulted her, which is why she killed Adrian first before murdering Caleb. While we did not see how she got to Caleb, we will surely find out what she does to Oliver Charles, who appears to be the third man she is targeting on what is likely a much longer list of men who sexually abused her. With that being said, I am more concerned about Alice, who also appears to be a victim of abuse. I wonder whether she will make it to the end of this case without being triggered by her own past. I also like Nora's dynamic with Alice, as she seems to be the voice of reason when she questions what is wrong with a woman going after a sex trafficker like Adrian. The show is shot in an interesting way, with scenes featuring either Ginny or Alice often bathed in red lighting whenever they are angry or plotting something. The orange-red undertones clearly reflect their rage. While Alice channels her anger by sparring with a random man, Ginny does so by plotting the men's murders or manipulating another woman into getting what she wants.